Yellow Rays, the Game Master 127, and welcome back to a Noble Knight deck profile, a casual, locals topping Noble Knight deck profile. You heard me right, I've actually won with Noble Knights. I've been Danger Thunder Dragon with this. I've been Salamangreat with this. I haven't faced Sky Striker yet, but this deck can win, and it can win well. Because that OTK, man, that you can do with this deck is lovely. I love it. It's so much fun to do. So with that being said, and yes, the fact that I have won, Trevor from Faith by Mary can confirm this. B-Web can also confirm that I can actually win with this. We just went to another locals again with some pretty good meta stuff like the Mystic Mine burn, which I guess is rogue. But yeah, they've also been Mech Knight Invoked, Cyber Dragon, Salamangreat, Danger Thunder Dragon. So like this deck can win. And by the way, this is by no stretch of the imagination the competitive one. It is a casual locals topping thing, which means I don't try, to play this, to like win all the time. It's not meant to win all the time because it really kind of doesn't. But this is the way I like to run it. So with that being said and out of the way, let's get started with this. The 2 Medraut. I know what you're saying already, but the reason why I run the 2 Medraut is because pretty much after the first turn you see him, he kind of gets cloggy. So I really want to see one of, and then add it depending on who I'm facing off the assault effect. Other than that, though, having 3 of them is just kind of cloggy, because the further you go into the duel, if you go against like Mystic Mine or Sky Striker or stuff like that, drawing into a Medraut with like an established board is not really that great. Yeah, sure, he's 17, but his effect is basically, useless mid-game. 2 Boars. I have 2 Boars in here instead of the 1 because I like to see him as much as I can, so I can put the trap cards and Gwen into the grave as much as I can. 3 Brothers. 3 Brothers is just kind of like, it's a new kind of like lineup I had. I had him at 2 because his limited effect. Really, this is the thing that I think Noble Knights probably need the most, if not something to like combat like meta, is they need a Link 3. You have so limited options when you use the special summon with Brothers, because it's either sold or you go into the lower king. That's really all you have if you're just going to use just Brothers, unless you went into Launcelin or Ektar, which can help you get into the 5s. This is all you really have with Brothers. But now the draw effect with 60 cards. Yes, it's a 60 card Noble Knight. 60 cards. 60 cards. Knock the camera. 60 cards. Yep. This is 60 cards Noble Knight, so he's the one who kind of helps me get the draw into it, because really I want to just draw as much as I can so I can go into the secondary part of the deck. We have then the 2 Yvonne. Most people run Yvonne at 1, and I can see why, but I like if there was a way. See, Yvonne can do two things that this is kind of like almost a better Medraut, and then in a way, because hear me out. With Yvonne is, at least if you get him turn 1, it's an instant assault, and then you can do your shenanigans. That's great. But now if you had to recycle Yvonne, you drew him back, and if you give him arms, then it boosts all the Noble Knights by 500. So now at least he's doing something, which I still kind of wish there was more of like a field spell. We really need a new field spell, because the field spell is kind of lackluster, but if you're going to grind out, then it's great. But other than that, though, Yvonne is just kind of like, it's okay. 1 Vanilla Artorigas, he is the Lady of the Lake target, but I don't ever really use Lady for that, but, other than that, Artorigas is an 18 body. 1 Gawain, I only have the 1 Gawain because the rest of the standards, I think, and coupled with like the rest of it, I think kind of makes up for the other 2 or extra Gawain. Because, again, it's not always the plan, it's just to rely on the actual physical Noble Knights and stuff like that. Because after like the Medraut play and all that, you basically end with an Assault and a Brothers, or maybe something else to go into like one of the kings. And that's basically your play, because either that, or if you go into Yvonne, then you're strictly limited to just a Assault and then a king. So I just had the 1 here because, for the most part, he does the job, and I can always recycle him back with Brothers, so he essentially, gets 2 copies in. 1 Dristan and 1 Pelennor. I have these guys in here because they are essentially the poppers of the deck. Dristan, however, he can pop stuff, protect monsters with 1800 attack or less, and he can still attack. Pelennor, on the other hand, though, he can pop stuff, he can attack, but he can draw. Which, like I said, is just a very important thing that I want in this deck, is I want to be able to draw. Two Custonin, like I said, with Gawain, these are kind of just more of the extenders. I really don't ever want to see Custonin. I always want to just special summon Custonin so I can get the extra normal summon. One Bedivere. I know most people don't ever play Bedivere. The thing with Bedivere, though, is... So what Bedivere does is he helps put the Noble Arms Excalibur in the grave. I have him in the grave, so then when you go into to Custonin, you can then get rid of the Excalibur after you use the next turn, because you can't do it when it's sent there. But since Excalibur is already in grave, you can rank up from Custonin into the Sacred King of Artorgus. The Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorgus. There we go. You can then use that, and then if Bedivere's still on the field, then you can switch around the arms if need be. So that's kind of why I like having Bedivere there, because it at least puts the Excalibur in grave, which would be nice. Now, if I could put Gwen in grave, that'd be great, but I can. One Gwalchavad. I have the one Gwalchavad in here because it's just helped to it's just supposed to help recycle some of the knights if I need be. Really, of course, the big play with him is to always either go into either Custonin or Gawain, because if it's with Gawain, you pop the arms, just don't return the arms, and then if it's Custonin, you do return the arms, so then Custonin gets the special summon. The two 5s, of course, are Ektar and Black Lancelin. These are just the standard 5s. This is what helps. Ektar helps establish the extra summons. And then Lancelin, of course, is just the 2000 beat stick of the deck. He's one of the higher attacking ones out of this. And then if I can send the normal summon, which also helps with the vanilla Artorgus, then he gets his own summon that way. And then I can always send him to graves so I can add an arms. To Merlin. Now, hear me out with Merlin. Merlin is either... I can kind of see how most people either consider Merlin either a 1 or 3. I like having Merlin at 3 because he's the OTK. You want to have Merlin in the grave as fast as possible, and then pray that they don't call him. It's ironic that you would think that Merlin is the one that is supposed to get called, but if Merlin gets called, I can't OTK, essentially. Because with Merlin is you can Xyz during battle phase. You can Xyz during battle phase, because you can do it in either player's turn. So then after all your knights do their attack and whatever, you can Xyz into one of the kings and then swing for that. So I don't like having him at 3 because he becomes instant Ash target, and if Merlin gets Ash, your turn's done, basically. Because there's nothing really else you can do. The one Gwen and the one Lady, these are just kind of the standard ones. I don't know why I keep putting them so high. Gwen is always just kind of one of. I would never, ever really want to run more than one Gwen. And then the one Lady, again. Now, with Lady of the Lake, I would never, ever use the Synchro effect unless I absolutely had to swing for game. That's when you just go into the high Lancelin and then get either Gallatin to get over something, or really what you want to go into is then Clarent and just swing for 21. If you're going into time, that's always kind of the plan. But yeah, other than that, I would never, ever use Lady's first effect, where it's you target the normal. Gosh, you target one normal monster in your graveyard and then special summon. That's not what I want to do. It's when this card's in the graveyard, I want to reduce them by 1, the level 5, so then she comes back out. Because then at least in this way, it's an instant link 2 for whatever. They're both lights or whatever, so that's how it can work. To Morgan. Again, kind of the same thing with Merlin here. Is Morgan's really good. I don't know how many people ever really run the 2 Morgan. Morgan, for me, at 2 seems good, because, again, like everything else with this deck, is if it doesn't have a knight and an arms, she's pretty much a dead draw, basically, at this point. The other positive thing, though, is because with how many spellcasters are actually in this, it's actually a pretty good out to Secret Village. So, at least helps in that regard. But yeah, I've always just liked having Morgan at 2. I feel like 3's too much and then 1's too little, so 2 kind of works for me. The one Effect Veiler, because, Effect Veiler is awesome in this format, and then the one Ash. Again, I'd probably run more of these, but again, the deck space is super tight, so it's just the one hand trap for each of them. Now, here we go. This I feel disgusted by, but at this point, with 60 card Noble Knights, the first thing I needed to do was I needed to figure out what are excellent ways to draw. And of course, what's the best way to draw at this point in the game? Dangers. One Danger Dogman, one Danger Bigfoot. The reason why I have these, and of course, I'd probably replace Dogman with Tsuchinoko, probably when it gets that reprint in the Battles of Legend. But for right now, I like having Dogman because this is how I'm going to view the dangers. It needs to go either way. If you picked the danger, okay, and they get sent to it, then I want to at least be able to have their, effect, go off. Dogman works because it's like, if I go against, a board or something like that, reduce them all by 1,000. Great. Bigfoot. If Bigfoot gets sent, then he gets to pop something. If they don't, then it's a 3,000 in draw, or it's a 24 in draw. So that's kind of why I like having at least these two dangers in here. They're the most generic ones without having to run the standard Nancy Jackalope Tsuchinoko, kind of deck or engine. So it's just those two. That's the only dangers I have, and that's really about it. Jirago. I love Jirago. Jirago is, of course, like I guess you could say the spicy tech card and everything like that. Jirago also helps with the establishing of, some OTKs, helps gain life when you really need it. Jirago's just an overall really good, versatile card, and I like having him so much. And he's either that or he's like I said, he's just so versatile because he does so much for the deck. It's so good. One Gameciel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Kaiju is a Kaiju, and you need to run at least one Kaiju, I think. And of course, Gameciel is the lowest one, so that's why I have him. And then to combat all the Danger Thunder Dragon. Now, I know normally I would just run the Lancia, but you know what's better than the Lancia? A Lancia on Legs. Chaos Hunter. Chaos Hunter it's a free special summon because all I do is just discard a card. And then the second effect is your opponent cannot banish cards, period. So that's why I kind of like having, the Chaos Hunter in this, because at least in that way, he's a 25 walking Lancia against Danger Thunder Dragon. You have to figure out some way how to get over this guy. And since most Danger Thunder Dragons don't run spell cards to, like the Dark Hole or something anyway, the Chaos Hunter pretty much kind of stays. And then, of course, wrapping up the monsters is one Dinosaur Pankratops. Can't wait till he gets his rarity bump. Because it'll be so nice to look. I don't mind the common Pankratops because he's kind of nice. The artwork actually looks pretty nice for Pankratops. But I like having at least one Pankratops in the main because, if for whatever reason I don't go into any of the Knights, but if I get, Bigfoot, Kaiju, and then Pankratops, whatever, at least I can do something. And then Pankratops, and then, of course, if I do give him a Kaiju, then I can kill it with Pankratops, so... Going on to the spells, we have two Noble Arms Excalibur. One is for the equipped, one it needs to be in graveyard pretty much at all times for that rank up. Then we got two Caliburn. Caliburn's just in there for the life and the gain. Two Destiny, because Destiny is probably, I think, ideally the best Noble Knight card because it re-equips, protects them from card effects, protects them from battle. The two Clarent. Now, most people, I don't think run any of these things. I have two Clarent in here, specifically for the reason because one is if I need to swing for time, two is for it's an extra arms that I need to send, so if I just needed to fill it for something. But yeah, like I said, it's where if you want to go into the High Launch thing, or if you just need to just swing in general to just do some life, Clarent is kind of really the best card at doing about this. If they have, this unbreakable board or whatever, at least I'd be able to just swing over all of it. So that's kind of why I like having at least two Clarent in here. And then one Gallatin and one Arfudator. It's always been like that. I would never really want to run more of them. Because again, since I can control one at a time. If they weren't always like that, I would probably run at least two Gallatin, but since it is, so that's all the arms. That should be good. I gotta put them back in order. Gosh, dang it. It didn't work. And of course, an absolute freaking must-have is 3 Heritage of the Challenge. It's a recycling Rhoda for the whole deck. It's so good from deck or grave. It's so good. It recurs back if they get destroyed by battle. It's so good. probably, I think, one of the best support the Noble Knights have had in a long time. One glory of the Noble Knights, most people run either 2 or 3 of these. I just like having one, just so it's just like, kind of like it's really, I think, the only like disruptor I have, is if they were going to attack, I can flip Glory of the Noble Knights and then give them like an arms from deck, give them like Gallatin or whatever, just to boost the attack or whatever. And then, of course, since it is counted as a Noble Knight card, I can recycle it with Brothers, so extra draw that way. The Field Spell. Like I said, the Field Spell's not great, but I like having the Field Spell in case I do get into like a Grindfest game with somebody, then at least, you know, the Field Spell comes in handy. And if it gets popped, then, you know, again, more recycle fuel. Reinforcement of the army, again, you know, it's the Rhoda for the deck. Last chapter of the Noble Knights. First time ever when I was at the locals, last chapter actually came in the clutch. Having last chapter is kind of like the Monster Reborn of Noble Knights. I like having the last chapter at just one because it's really just... It's kind of situational because both a knight and an arms have to be engraved, but it works great if after you do your measure up play, you can last chapter and then still have a normal summon. And then, of course, for the Disruptor is for your Cosmic Cyclone for your Sky Striker, and Twin Twister for about anything else. So those are the back row Disruptors. Get I have at least... I probably would try to run more of like the Twin Twister if I could, but again, tight space, so that's what it is. Unfortunately, you know, this deck is very susceptible to hand traps, but unfortunately, I can only put in one Call by the Grave. I would like to run 2, but again, there's not really much else I would want to cut out of the deck, so the one Call by the Grave it is. One Monster Reborn, Monster Reborn's Monster Reborn. The Instant Fusion is there for the Carbona Warrior, so I can go into, and I sold for just the extra Warrior. So that wraps up the spells. We only have 5 traps in here, and that is 2 until Noble Arms are needed once again. It's those 2, and then Gwen is what you send off the boars. Good versatile effect, banishes for Noble Knight or excavates for the draw. Wonderful. Solemn Strike I think is pretty good right now currently in this meta, at least at the time of this recording. So at least just like having that. Probably when Strike probably gets corrupt out, maybe, I'll probably replace it with like another Called or Twin. Red Reboot. Red Reboot is just so it's like if I have to face any of these like annoying trap card heavy decks, then I am ready for that. And then if I'm facing against the annoying spell heavy deck, Curse Seal of the Forbidden Spell, such a wonderful card to play against people who, like if they're going to do like the Engage for Sky Striker or the Sekka's Light for Dangerous Thunder Dragon, it's like, yeah, no more drawing, no more of that. It's always great to see the reaction on it. Okay, so then going on to the extra deck is the standard 2 I sold, 2 Tales of the Noble Knights. You know, this is basically, you know, the link of the deck. Would really like to have a link 3 of some kind, but for right now, you know, she works. She does great. You know, 16 attack, you know, wonderful card to have. That's that. 1 Hippo Shinigami. This is kind of the backup assault of the deck. Is if I have, you know, my assaults are gone and I'm waiting for Brothers or whatever, I can at least go into Hippo Shinigami and still kind of make my plays. Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is just kind of the, you know, the removal I just need for spells and stuff like that. I don't really like having Cerberus. I could probably, this next card I could probably replace for Cerberus, but for right now, you know, Phoenix is just kind of okay. 1 Gaia Saber, the Lightning Shadow. The only reason why he is in here is because it is a 2+ generic 26 link 3 with arrows to the side and then 1 pointing down. I would run the decode, but the problem with I have with decode, it's 23, it's kind of weak for a 3. There's no really good, like, just generic 3s now that Summon Sorceress got banned. So, I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, like, what else could I really, you know, use for a 3? This is the only card I thought of I could have. Again, it's not great because he's a machine and he's an Earth, so it doesn't really sync well with the deck at all. But, again, it's just something if I ever need to go into, then I have. 1 Borrowload Dragon. Yes. The correct artwork, by the way, not the reprint one. No, I really like this this artwork of Borrowload, and Borrowload is just a great card. I would probably, if I had the Borrow Sword, I could probably like swap them out from time to time. But I like Borrowload because it's just, you know, a non-targeting just gimme, and then of course, you know, his arrows are nice. So that's kind of why I like having that. Then, really quickly going on, we got 2 of the Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorigus, the 2 big kings, and then we got 2 smaller kings. Yes, I finally got a second copy The ultimate rare, by the way, I don't know if I can see that. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we have ultimate rare and then the platinum rare of those, and then 2 sacred Noble Knight of King Custennin. So just 2, 2, 2. That's kind of, I think, a pretty good combination. It actually works out pretty well, most part, for the deck. So those are the kings. Gonna put them back in order. Tiny too. And wrapping up the XCs is Starleech Paladimo. I have Paladimo in here because, again, it's the draw effect. You know, I just need the 2 lights. So Starleech Paladimo actually works pretty well. The drawing effect, 2,000, you know, pretty good. Only synchro, of course, is the Ignoble Knight of High Launcelin. Sorry. There we go. Again, he's just kind of in there just for, basically, to help just swing for the time. And then, of course, the 1 Carbone Warrior for the instant fusion target. And then tokens for Rivon. And that, ladies and gentlemen, right there is the Noble Knight deck profile of whatever month and year I decide to release this. It should be pretty soon, hopefully, at the time of this recording. But that right there is my casual locals topping Noble Knight deck profile. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the viewage and all the support the channel's been getting over the past couple months. And until then, hopefully, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. God bless you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.